Jenny is gripping a bank statement so tightly that the paper is beginning to fold between her fingers. Her hands are shaking, but Sumit is not moving at all. He is standing across the room with his eyes lowered, already looking like a man who knows there is no believable explanation left. The account is almost empty. Not a few missing payments. Not one careless purchase. Nearly $100,000 has disappeared, and Jenny had no idea anything was wrong. She looks at the statement again, hoping the numbers will somehow change. Then she asks the only question that matters. How much did you lose? Sumit does not give her a number. He tells her he can fix it. And that answer makes everything worse. When someone responds to a direct question with a promise, it usually means the truth is more frightening than the question. Sumit is not explaining what happened. He is trying to control Jenny's reaction before she understands the full damage. Then he finally admits it. Nearly $100,000 is gone through secret gambling losses. Jenny does not scream. She does not throw the papers across the room. She slowly sits down, almost like her body has reacted before her mind can catch up. That silence is more powerful than any dramatic explosion because Jenny is not simply processing a financial loss. She is trying to calculate how long Sumit has been looking her in the face while hiding an entirely different reality. How many normal mornings happened while he knew their savings were disappearing? How many future plans did he discuss while secretly borrowing money? How many times did he reassure her when he already knew their security was in danger? And the biggest problem is that the missing money may not even be the worst part. Where did $100,000 come from? Did Sumit lose his own money? Or did he gamble with something that belonged to both of them? Did anyone in his family know? And is he confessing because he finally wants to be honest, or because the evidence has made another lie impossible? This is no longer just about gambling. It is about secrecy, control, consent, and what happens when one partner quietly makes life-changing decisions for two people. Sumit initially claims the money came from personal savings. Jenny immediately knows that cannot be the full truth. They never had $100,000 sitting in one private account that he could lose without affecting their shared future. She starts asking for dates. She wants bank records, transfer details, loan documents, and a complete explanation of where every dollar came from. Those questions are not cruel. They are not dramatic. They are the minimum response after discovering that your financial life may have been changed without your knowledge. But Sumit reacts as though Jenny's questions are the real problem. He tells her she is treating him like a criminal. That response reveals exactly where his mind is. Jenny is terrified because she does not know what else has been hidden from her. Sumit is uncomfortable because accountability now feels humiliating. He is focusing on the pain of being questioned instead of the fear created by his behavior. And that difference matters. A person who is ready to repair the damage usually understands why every question must be answered. A person still protecting himself becomes defensive because every answer may expose another lie. Jenny keeps pressing, and Sumit's first story begins falling apart. The money did not come from one account. Some came from their shared savings. Some was borrowed from a friend. Some came through a private loan Jenny never knew existed. Other money had been set aside for plans they had made together. Now the issue becomes much bigger than irresponsible spending. Once shared savings and hidden loans are involved, this becomes a question of consent. Jenny never agreed to risk that money. She was never given the chance to reduce spending, protect herself, stop the borrowing, or walk away before the damage grew. Sumit made shared decisions alone. Now he expects them to face the consequences together. He insists he never planned to lose the entire amount. He believed one more gamble could recover what had already disappeared. That explanation does not make the situation better. It shows how the situation kept getting worse. The first loss probably created panic. Admitting it would have meant facing Jenny's disappointment immediately. So Sumit took another risk, hoping he could replace the money before she noticed. Then that risk created another loss. Every new gamble became an attempt to hide the previous one. Every new lie was protecting an older lie. By the time the truth reached Jenny, she was no longer dealing with one bad decision. She was dealing with a chain of decisions built around avoiding accountability. Jenny asks why he did not tell her after the first loss. Sumit says he was afraid she would leave him. Jenny's response destroys that defense. She tells him that hiding it is exactly what may make her leave now. That is the central contradiction in Sumit's explanation. He says he lied because he wanted to protect the marriage. But his secrecy removed Jenny's ability to participate honestly in that marriage. He was so afraid of losing her that he created the exact betrayal most likely to push her away. And just when it appears the complete financial picture may finally be coming out, Jenny notices Sumit moving one document beneath the others. She reaches for it. This is not another gambling record. It is paperwork connected to their home and shared living expenses. Suddenly, the $100,000 is not just a frightening number. Jenny's basic security may have been used to help Sumit obtain more money. Her reaction changes from shock to controlled anger. Jenny asks whether he thought about her age. She asks whether he considered how difficult it would be for her to rebuild her life if the debt became impossible to repay. She asks what would happen if they lost the stability she's sacrificed so much to create. These questions expose the emotional difference between them. Sumit was thinking about how to escape the immediate consequences of his losses. Jenny is thinking about where she will live if his escape plan fails. He tells her he believed he would win the money back before she discovered anything. And that may be the most damaging admission of the entire confrontation. Sumit was not preparing to confess. He was preparing to erase the evidence. That means his honesty was dependent on failure. Had he recovered the money, Jenny might have continued living beside him without ever knowing how close their future came to collapsing. Sumit may tell himself he was carrying the burden alone to protect her. But secrecy did not only protect Jenny from worry, it protected Sumit from resistance. As long as Jenny knew nothing, she could not stop him. She could not question him. She could not contact the lender. She could not protect the account. She could not decide whether she still wanted to remain in the marriage. His silence gave him control. And now Jenny must reconsider every reassuring conversation they had during that period. Every time Sumit said things were fine, did he already know they were not? Every time they discussed the future, was he secretly calculating how to cover another debt? Financial deception changes the past because ordinary memories begin to feel staged. The conversations were real to Jenny, but Sumit always had information she did not. Then Jenny asks whether anyone else knew. Sumit hesitates for only a few seconds, but that pause is enough. Jenny already knows the answer. He admits one family member had discovered part of the financial problem. That person may not have known the entire amount, but they knew enough to tell Sumit he needed to stop. Instead of informing Jenny, they accepted Sumit's promise that he had everything under control. For Jenny, this becomes a second betrayal. She is no longer only facing her husband's secrecy. She is facing a circle of people who knew her marriage was in danger while she remained completely unaware. Imagine the humiliation behind that realization. Jenny may have spoken to these people normally. She may have discussed bills, plans, and her future with Sumit while someone else in the room already knew that his story was falling apart. The family might argue that they were respecting Sumit's privacy. But the consequences were not private. The money, the home, and the marriage involved Jenny directly. When Sumit's family arrives to calm the situation, their presence has the opposite effect. Jenny no longer feels supported. She feels surrounded. One relative admits they knew Sumit was experiencing financial trouble but insists they did not understand how serious the problem had become. Jenny asks the question nobody wants to answer directly. Why did nobody warn her? The family says Sumit promised he would fix everything himself. That answer proves the truth was treated like Sumit's personal information, even though the consequences belonged to both partners. Then the conversation takes an even more frustrating turn. A family member suggests Sumit may have felt pressured because Jenny often worried about long-term stability. Maybe, they argue, he believed he needed to create a stronger financial future for her. The implication is subtle, but Jenny hears it immediately. Sumit gambled. Sumit borrowed money. Sumit hid the debt. Sumit placed their security at risk. Yet Jenny's desire for stability is suddenly being discussed as part of the problem. This is how accountability often gets diluted in family conflict. First, people explain why someone behaved badly. Then the explanation becomes sympathy. Eventually, sympathy turns into an excuse. Yes, Sumit may have felt pressure. Yes, he may have wanted to prove he could provide. Those feelings may explain his panic, but they do not justify what he chose to do with that panic. Pressure does not remove responsibility. What makes the moment even worse is Sumit's silence. While his family explains his motivations, he allows them to speak for him. He does not immediately interrupt. He does not clearly say that Jenny did not cause his gambling. He remains quiet because their defense reduces some of the emotional pressure on him. But silence is still a decision. Sumit wants Jenny to forgive him, yet he is unwilling to challenge the people who are minimizing her pain. That tells her something disturbing. Even during the biggest crisis in their marriage, keeping peace with his family may still matter more than fully defending his wife. Jenny finally tells him to speak for himself. She asks whether he honestly believes she caused any part of this. Sumit says no. Then he adds that he only wanted to prove he could provide for her. That answer sounds caring until you examine what it actually means. He is using a loving intention to soften a harmful decision. But love does not secretly borrow against another person's future. Love does not hide debt and then demand understanding after the damage becomes visible. Good intentions do not restore consent. Jenny tells him exactly that. His family then urges her not to make a permanent decision while she is emotional. Jenny responds that Sumit made dozens of permanent decisions while she knew nothing. That is the moment the balance of power shifts. Until now, Sumit controlled the information. He decided what Jenny knew when she learned it, and how much truth each confession contained. Now Jenny controls what happens next. She does not ask for another apology because apologies are no longer enough. She gives Sumit 3 conditions. The first is complete financial transparency. Every debt must be revealed. Every loan, account, repayment deadline, and unpaid obligation must be placed in front of her. No more partial truths. No missing paperwork. No surprise confession arriving after she has agreed to stay. The second condition is professional support for the gambling behavior. Jenny makes it clear that she cannot become Sumit's full-time investigator. She cannot monitor every transaction, question every absence, and carry the responsibility for preventing another loss. That would not rebuild their marriage. It would turn Jenny into a supervisor and Sumit into someone being managed. The third condition is the most difficult. Sumit must tell the complete truth in front of everyone who helped hide it. He must stop allowing his family to explain his choices and personally accept responsibility. Sumit agrees to the first 2 conditions. Then he resists the third. He says being forced to admit everything publicly could humiliate him and damage his relationship with his family. And there is the problem again. Jenny is facing the possible destruction of her financial security, but Sumit is still worried about protecting his image. He wants forgiveness to happen quietly because quiet forgiveness would allow everyone around him to move forward without fully confronting what they helped conceal. Jenny's conditions are not revenge. They are an attempt to restore reality after months of deception. She needs complete information because incomplete information created the crisis. She needs professional support because promises failed. She needs open accountability because secrecy was protected by more than one person. A marriage cannot recover while the truth remains negotiable. At this point, Jenny is no longer asking whether Sumit feels sorry. He clearly feels ashamed. He is emotional. He is frightened. He may genuinely regret what happened. But regret and change are not the same thing. Remorse is not measured by how hard someone cries during the confrontation. It is measured by what they are willing to do after the confrontation becomes uncomfortable. Then Sumit admits there may be another unpaid debt. Jenny stops moving. Even after the bank statement, the hidden loan, the family confession, and her demand for complete transparency, there is still more. This is why trust is collapsing faster than the financial situation. Every time Sumit claims the truth is finally complete, another detail appears. Jenny removes her wedding ring and places it on the table. She does not announce that the marriage is over. She tells Sumit she cannot wear the ring while the truth keeps changing. That decision is not only dramatic, it is deeply symbolic. A wedding ring represents a shared promise built on a shared understanding of the relationship. Jenny believed they were living inside the same marriage. Now she realizes they were not. She was planning a future. Sumit was managing a crisis. She thought decisions were being made together. He was privately risking their stability and presenting normal life as evidence that everything was fine. Then the final debt is revealed. The money came from someone close to Sumit's family. Sumit promised repayment within a short period and allowed the lender to believe Jenny was aware of the arrangement. That crosses a completely different line. He did not only hide the truth from Jenny. He used the credibility of their marriage to obtain money. The lender believed Jenny supported the decision because Sumit allowed that impression to stand. Her name, trust, and reputation became part of the loan without her consent. Sumit borrowed against the image of their partnership while excluding Jenny from the actual decision. That may be harder to repair than the money itself. He begins crying and promises he will make everything right. He asks Jenny not to let one terrible period erase the entire relationship they fought so hard to build. But Jenny understands something Sumit still appears unable to accept. One terrible period did not destroy the trust. The first lie damaged it. The next gamble weakened it. The hidden loan removed another piece. The paperwork connected to their security made the betrayal personal. The family silence made Jenny feel isolated. The final debt proved the confession was still incomplete. Sumit is focused on the amount of money he lost. Jenny is focused on the number of times he chose deception. Money can potentially be earned again. Debts can sometimes be repaid. A payment plan can be created. Trust cannot be restored through another promise when promises were part of the disguise. A situation like this would divide viewers immediately. Some fans would likely say Jenny should leave without offering another chance. They would argue that this was not one impulsive mistake. Sumit created an entire system of secrecy and allowed other people to help maintain it. For those viewers, the gambling is only one red flag. The deeper issue is that Sumit repeatedly decided he had the right to control what Jenny knew about her own future. Other viewers might feel sympathy for him. They may believe the first loss created so much shame that he became trapped in a cycle of desperate decisions. They could argue that he was not trying to hurt Jenny. He was trying to fix the problem before she ever felt its consequences. That interpretation may explain his thinking, but explanation is not absolution. Understanding why someone lied does not automatically make the lie safe to forgive. A section of the audience would probably focus on the family. Did they honestly believe Sumit had the situation under control? Or did they simply believe protecting him was more important than informing Jenny? There is also the question of whether Jenny's conditions are too strict. They are not. Full disclosure, professional support, and direct accountability are not extreme punishments after major financial deception. They are the minimum foundation required before trust can even begin to return. The harder debate is whether Jenny should remain in the marriage while Sumit proves he can change. Love does not create an automatic obligation to stay inside someone else's recovery process.
Jenny can care about him.
She can hope he receives help. She can believe his regret is genuine and still decide she cannot risk the rest of her future beside him. That is not cruelty. That is self-protection. Trust repair will not happen during one emotional conversation. The real test will come later, when Sumit feels ashamed again. When he faces another financial problem, will he speak honestly before it becomes a crisis? Or will he return to secrecy, because hiding feels easier than disappointing Jenny? The pattern matters more than the apology. This storyline also exposes a major power imbalance. The person controlling information controls the other person's choices. Jenny could not decide whether to reduce expenses, protect savings, seek financial advice, confront the lender, or temporarily separate because she had no idea those options were necessary. Sumit did not simply hide his behavior. He controlled Jenny's ability to respond to it. That is why this is not just a financial conflict. It is about autonomy inside a marriage. Another warning sign is Sumit's repeated use of good intentions. He says he wanted to provide for Jenny. He says he wanted to protect her from worry. He says he feared losing her. Every explanation centers what Sumit believed was best while ignoring Jenny's right to decide for herself. A healthy partnership requires telling the truth even when the other person may react badly. It means accepting that your partner deserves reality more than you deserve temporary comfort. Sumit did not give Jenny that respect. The most likely immediate outcome is separation rather than instant divorce. Jenny needs physical space because every conversation inside that home is connected to pressure. Sumit is crying. His family is defending him. Everyone is asking Jenny to